What's up, everybody? Welcome. That was so loud. I'm so sorry. Welcome back to Cole and Noah Are Friends, the podcast where you guessed it. We're friends.
We're friends.
And sometimes we have friends. Eventually, guys, we have a plan
have
for episode 10 because it just feels right.
Yeah. It just feels right.
We were in our youth meeting last week, and we started with our podcast. We created quite the beef in the youth department.
We did?
Between Trevor and Brett. They were going at it.
Oh, yeah.
Last week because Brett said, he texted Cole and I, Brett Ballard, and he said, episode 9 is, I'll find the exact quote because I want to quote Brett exactly.
Yeah, we should read this text message.
Because it sparked, I mean, we were waiting for Taylor to show up to the meeting, and in that time, man, they were not happy.
No, there were fights, verbal contentions happening.
Brett said, episode 9 of Star Wars is the greatest piece of cinema to ever grace the Star Wars screens at a theater. And then Cole said, I just remembered that you sent us this garbage opinion. Thanks for listening to our podcast.
I sent that a week after he texted that.
As a movie lover, I think it's always a valid take. Fan service is always a good thing. And then, man, oh man, that stemmed into Trevor and Brett going at it to the point to where I think that I mentioned to Cole for episode 10 that we should have them on the podcast and they should debate.
Oh my gosh.
The movies.
Yes.
And it would be really funny because Brett, it's just taste. Brett just likes it. That's it. So it's just Brett's opinion versus Trevor being like, no, you're wrong. I read these books before I go to sleep. I know the canon. And Brett's like, I'm glad, but it's the way I feel. So there will be no changed minds. It'll just be yelling.
Yeah, just be, yep. If you haven't seen Trevor Larson when he is like, he's got something to say, and that's all that needs to be done for. He's like, I'm gonna say things about this. It is so much fun just to watch him go.
He's incredible. Yeah,
Trevor, you're
I've
amazing.
never seen Trevor more like filled with passion than last week.
Get him going about Star Wars. Trevor is the reason I watched the Clone Wars series.
Really?
Yeah, Trevor convinced me it's worth watching, and then when COVID hit, Kylie and I binged through it, and I was like, Trevor, everything you said is true. Thank you for making me watch this. So, what is this, episode 8?
Episode 8.
Yeah.
The last
episode
podcast.
8, the last.
Except don't worry, it's not actually, we're just making fun of the Star Wars sequels.
Yeah, these are Star Wars puns. Okay.
So in the next one, we're going to be directed by a new person, and we're going to basically say sorry for everything. So it's just going to be filled with fan service.
Everything that you thought this podcast was doing, we're going to undo all of it in this one episode. Turns out we're not even friends. Noah and I don't even know each other.
Yep. I've never met Cole in my life, actually.
Not once.
Nor did Cole, myself, my wife, and Cole's wife go out on a double date last Friday night.
We did not do that. We did not get Thai food. We did not go to an arcade, and we did not basically go up to our wives and say, give us money so we could go play games while they talked at the bar like real adults.
Cole and I played a lot of pinball.
A lot of pinball.
We fought in Street Fighter, and what was my guy's name?
What was his name? Hugo. That guy was so annoying.
Yeah. Cole and I fought in Street Fighter, and we ended the night tied. Cole and I both beat each other the same amount of times.
Oh yeah, we did. It was a fair. It was a fair match.
You picked Ken, and Ken beat me with Hugo.
Ken was Ken the boxer? Because that dude was dapper.
You picked a different guy. I don't remember his name. But you did pick a different guy.
I remember picking him and then being like, "Oh, cool, boxing." And then,
but none of this happened. All of this is hypothetical. Cole and I are just
that's right. Sorry, none of this ever really.
We're
not even recording at the same time.
Cole's name isn't even Cole.
You dirtbag.
That's the big reveal.
Dun dun dun.
In other news, Cole, we just posted a picture on Instagram.
We did.
Featuring our first ever, not our first ever donation.
No.
But our first ever specifically asked for bleeps donation.
That's right. We got $3 to bleep the one and only.
That's 2 though.
This episode. Yeah, now we've already said it twice.
Oh no.
Oh no. We need more than $3 because
then again, this will be good for you because it'll be right at the top. So like
it'll be easy to edit.
You'll get the bleeps.
Yeah.
I mean, we're like 3 minutes in.
That's right.
That's great.
We weren't joking when we said you can pay for retroactive bleeps. Now, the person who donated the money, I'm not going to say who they are. You know who you are, and I'm so proud of you. I asked.
He who shan't be named yet.
He or she who shall not be named
Yet, because I don't want to say his name for a third bleep. He's going to be so upset. He was so mad when I told him about it, and then he listened to it. He's like, man. And I forget what else he said.
Guys, here's what I would love to see, and this is why we need your financial contributions, okay? Just imagine this with me, all right? You, the person who gave $3, I said, oh, $3, awesome. Now, we said you can do retroactive bleeps, and those are $2 per bleep. Do you want them going forward, or do you want to pay for retroactive ones? And he said, just go forward. I was like, awesome. But imagine this. Imagine we actually retroactively bleeped this person's name, whom you all know I'm referring to, enough so that in every single episode of the Cole and Noah Are Friends podcast, this person's name is a secret because it is bleeped every time we say it. And new people who join the podcast will have no idea who we're talking about. Only you who've been listening through episodes 1 through 8.
Should we, for that one episode that this person got to talk, should we do like, if you do $5, we'll bleep his entire part where he talked? Like the whole time it'll just be a long censor bar.
That's a great idea. Just a big long bleep.
He's going to hate this. He's going to hate this.
He is. He's totally going to hate it.
But you know what, Cole? Just to make your job easier, I am
Sure.
going to mention this person's name because last week we had this thing called the Worship Leader Network.
Okay.
Where Sean Keith was speaking. So a bunch of us from Lifegate went to support Sean.
Nice.
And Sean got to share some stuff with other worship leaders in the city. Always really cool, getting a bunch of worship leaders together.
Yep.
And so Sean was sharing, and afterwards had ridden with somebody else, and we had a little time before our next meeting. So I was like, oh, let's just swing by Target really quick.
Yep.
I don't know if I just said his name or not.
I think you might have.
No, that's fine.
Oh,
We'll
well.
see.
We've run out of bleep money.
Yeah, that's fine. Now we can say his name as much as we want.
We need more bleeping money.
Steven and I went to the Target in Bellevue, which is one of my least favorite Targets. But boy, oh boy, was it a hidden gold mine for the Batmobiles I mentioned last time.
I want you later to tell us more about just how much you know about Targets and Walgreens and Noah.
Yeah, because I dropped a Walgreens thing to you on Friday night.
Noah knows Walgreens and Target like architecture, and I can't believe that you do, and it's hilarious.
Yes, I do.
Anyways,
after this story, I'll tell you about that.
Okay, great.
So, we walk in, we go to the toys, we're looking around, and so we walk to the Hot Wheels, and we find Batmobiles, and we're like, oh my gosh, we found there's 6 here. By the end of our trip, Steven had found 15 Batmobiles.
Whoa!
Which is the most I've ever seen at one Target.
And these are the Batmobile, like the thing you were talking about on that last episode.
In the last episode, this is the same one. So these are the newest ones that are like that gray, the shiny gray color.
Yep.
So he found 15, which is the most I've ever seen in one store. That's not the most I've ever gotten in one day. Back when I was first finding these, I found, I think, maybe it was 15. Maybe I found 15 in one day, but not at one store.
Is he hanging on to those, or does he sell them? Because
no, he has all of them.
Dude, I would because they're selling for what, $5 to $7?
I think it depends on the car. I don't know about this specific model right now.
Okay,
I know about the previous ones.
Sure.
And also, side note, tying this, I found a toy 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That I think I told you guys this, but I found a toy for 20. Or I bought it at Target. I had a gift card, so it was like $19.
Yeah.
And I sold it for $200.
Dude, you actually sold it?
Uh-huh. I did.
Nice.
The next night. I was telling you guys about it on Friday night.
That's right.
And Saturday night, I just listed it and then sold it.
Man,
so,
did it sell quick?
Yeah, it didn't sell for as much as I wanted it to, but as I was telling you, I think I just wanted to strike while the iron was hot and just see, and mostly just prove to Taryn that even if there's something that I wanted, because I wanted to keep this, it's like my favorite wrestler and whatever.
Sure.
Wanted to keep it, but I wanted to prove that if I choose to do this, I will do it. I'll take something I enjoy and I like, and I will sell it. Just to prove that I could turn a profit, because now she's open to the idea of me doing this with sneakers and things like that as long as I actually sell them.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome. So I had a friend, still have the friend who was buying graphics cards when they were. I haven't checked the prices on those lately, but when the crypto market was booming,
yes, this was right around the time PS5s came out, or
just before, and they were crazy hard to get a hold of. Yeah, he was looking into building a crypto mine at the same time that I was building mine. But he's way more liquid than I am. He can afford to just spend some stuff. So he ordered 2 or 3 3080 or 3090 cards, which
when
are...
Cole says he's more liquid, he means he's like the Terminator from Terminator 2.
Yeah, that's him. He's totally
the T whatever that is.
That's him.
He's
That's
literally
exactly him.
made of like liquid.
He's just a congealed mass.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he dropped like several $1,000s to buy a couple cards, and then he changed his mind or something. And his wife was super frustrated because she was like, "You just spent all this money." He's like, "Don't worry, I'll sell them and it'll be fine." And then he turned around and sold the cards he bought online, like eBay. Turned around, sold them on eBay, and made a profit selling them. And he was like, "My wife is annoyed because she wanted me to learn a lesson about being hasty and buying things right away, but then I made us money." And I was like, "See, babe, I'm great at this." And she's like, "That's not the point. That's not what I wanted you to learn."
Yeah, and that's just it. Like, I'm all for, like, I'll spend money to make money. Like,
yeah,
I have no problem doing that, especially if it's things
you're
that
a savvy business owner.
Especially if it's things that I know about. Like, I don't know a ton about crypto. I don't know about like anything with that. I don't know about like the real estate market or anything like that. But I know toys, clothing, shoes. Like, I know those things. Not as well as I could, but like there's things that I do know about. And so when I'm like, I can sell this for a profit, people are like, there's no way. And then I'm like, okay,
watch me.
I sold a t-shirt for $85. I sold a toy for $200. Like there's things that I do know about.
Yes.
Like, and so there are things that I try selling. So hopefully, Steven and I, who knows, at this point we could just open our own shop of exclusively this Batmobile, like a kiosk in the mall.
That can be one of our Patreon levels.
Ooh.
Like, okay,
you get a Batmobile?
You enter into a raffle for an autographed Batmobile from the one and only Noah Anderson.
And Cole, because
Cole
I
guess I
are
should
friends,
sign it too.
But yeah, so Steven found 15 of these, and he would have had 16, but some scumbag out there, we will find you, stole one of the Batmobiles and then left the packaging in the container.
No.
I was like, you rat. 95 cents. Hey, I don't know everyone's situation, but a 95-cent Hot Wheel. Come on,
if you're stealing that,
come on.
That dirty, rotten 11-year-old is going to get it.
Yeah. I hope you get grounded.
So hard.
Yeah.
I hope you get I hope you're playing with your Hot Wheel and you vroom it a little too hard and it flies out the window and goes down the storm drain and is washed away forever.
No. And then Pennywise has it. Side note, I have seen 4 PS5s in the wild in the last week.
Wow, really?
I was at shocker, Target, and I saw going by on a pallet. Yeah, on a pallet, 2 PS5s.
Oh.
But then she like stopped at the game cases and like looked around and then took them in the back. I was like, there's no way that somebody already bought those. Because Target is still doing the thing where you can't buy them in store. You can only buy them online. I really don't know how that works. And then I was at GameStop with my son yesterday after he got out of school.
Yep.
And there was 2 more that they had pulled in.
Wow.
And then the GameStop guy was very interested in telling me about how to go about buying one after I'd already mentioned that I have a PS5.
Yeah.
He was just really into telling me.
Yeah.
And part of me had this thought. I was like, man, I should try and buy one, but I don't think there's a ton of resale value. I think it's only like $100.
Yeah.
Whereas like a year ago, you could make, if you bought it for $500-600, you could sell it for possibly $1,000.
Oh yeah, dude.
So like a $400 profit.
It was nuts.
But I didn't do that. But it is still crazy. We're starting to see them. Xbox Series S's. I've seen those in the wild now for a couple months. Like multiple Targets just have them sitting. So take that, Xbox.
Take that, Xbox.
Actually, maybe not. It's hard to say. Does that mean PS5 is doing better or doing worse?
Yeah, I don't know. The whole supply-demand thing, it's crazy.
So Target architecture.
If
you'd like me to fill you in.
Please do.
So there are...
For those of you who just went, what? And do I want to listen to this?
Not really architecture.
Yes,
more like the layouts of stores, okay?
Yep.
So Walgreens I don't know a ton about. They usually have general layouts.
Yep.
But there's one Walgreens in specific that I have seen in Omaha that is the coolest Walgreens in Omaha.
And it's the one that's near Benson, right?
That's
the one that
Benson.
you were like, the coolest Walgreens in all of Omaha is just up the road, fun fact.
It looks really cool, but 2, it has massive windows. Walgreens typically... And now that I'm saying this, you're going to go buy a Walgreens and you're going to be like, he's right.
You'll never unsee this.
I'm telling you, Walgreens don't have windows. The only windows they have are at the front of the store. They have the doors, and then there's the high windows above what would be like typically cosmetics, and then the checkouts.
Yep.
Okay? Or the registers, which there's only like a couple. So this Walgreens has a section of massive front windows that let you see fully into the store.
Wow.
Like fully into the store. And there might be some of those throughout the world, but in Omaha, as far as I know, that is the only one that has it. So it's just it looks the nicest because there's like light in the building. It looks nice. That's it for Walgreens.
That's it. That's all I got for Walgreens.
Targets. So there are levels to Targets. If you've only lived in West Omaha your entire life, you will not know that there is nothing besides Super Targets. But there are things other than Super Targets. They are just Targets.
Target.
Which now Target, I think, is going through a branding thing where they're not calling anything Super Targets. They're just, everything is Target, but there's a very clear difference.
Yeah.
So in Omaha, where Cole and I live, there are 3 regular Targets. 3, yes. Bellevue, 72nd Dodge, 72nd Sorensen.
Yeah.
And then there's, if you count Council Bluffs, because basically Council Bluffs.
Sure,
so 4.
Sure.
In the Omaha metro area, we'll say that.
Yeah, okay.
And then the rest are Super Targets, okay?
Yep.
So the Target layout for most stores is if you're looking dead on at the building, the right side of the building is typically grocery. And the left side of the building is like clothing, housing stuff, blah, blah, blah.
As my daughter would say, the green side and the blue side, because in Papillion...
Yep, it's the green and blue Target. That's how my son recognizes it as well.
Yep, and every time we go in on the grocery side, she's mad because she wants to go in on the blue side, I think.
That Target is the only Target that has the electronics at the front of the store.
Yes.
The only Super Target in
That's right.
And there's one other Target that is different. The Target on 132nd and Maple.
Yep.
The groceries are on the left.
Yep.
And the clothing is on the right.
Yeah, I grew up around that Target.
Yep. And so that one is the only one like that. Because 168th and Maple, the groceries are on the right, clothing is on the left.
Yep.
Electronics in the back, toys in the back, all that jazz.
Yep.
Then, so every Target is pretty much laid out that same way. The 180th and Center actually used to be a lot like the Washington Street one.
Really?
Where although the toys were in a different spot, but it was like electronics were at the front left of the store, groceries are still on the right, and then like just up that side, toys were there. And now toys are where they are in every store.
Yep.
And then there's certain Targets that carry Levi's, like not the Denizen brand, but actual Levi's clothing.
Really?
Yep. 72nd Dodge, 180th and Center. I think those are the only 2 right now. 168th and Maple, I think, is trying to get those. But yeah, so that's it. The best Targets in Omaha, 180th and Center, 168th and Maple. The worst Targets in Omaha are 72nd and Sorensen and the Bellevue one, because they easily look the oldest.
Yeah, so what makes them the worst? Is it just that they look old?
They're regular Targets, for one, so they don't have everything.
They don't have as
But
much.
they also just like look dingy.
Sure.
They just look like old school mall Targets, which Mall of the Bluffs, there used to be a Target in Mall of the Bluffs.
And there used to be
it has that vibe.
Target with like right next to Crossroads, unless that's still there.
That's still there.
Is it
That's still there. That's the only thing that was left from what is now going to be the Crossroads.
Oh, okay. Got it.
It actually looks pretty nice. They've done a lot to that Target.
Sure.
To make it look a lot better and feel honestly like a mini Super Target. But.
Have you been, okay, this is totally off subject, but have you been down to the Jean Leahy Mall now that they like...
my wife has. Taryn has, and she says it's incredible.
Dude, it was mind-blowing.
Also, why is it called a mall? There's no mall.
I don't know. There's no mall there. I don't understand. Someone explain this to me.
I think I've looked this up before.
Was there a mall there?
Maybe.
I know who Jean Leahy was, but I don't... At least I think I do.
Dude, have you ever seen what Westroads used to look like when it first opened?
No.
It used to be divided into like what were called like towns. So there was like the Boston section and a bunch of other stuff. It looked wild.
Really?
There.
That sounds interesting.
It was cool. There's a picture that they put. What defines a mall?
What defines a mall?
A large building or series of connected buildings containing a variety of retail stores and typically also restaurants. A sheltered walk or promenade.
A sheltered walk or promenade.
Yeah, so Jean Leahy Mall is
But
probably
it's
goes
not
with
sheltered.
Well, it's probably just a promenade then.
Promenade. What is a promenade?
Well, let's find out.
Hey, you going to the concert tonight? Promenade. Anyways, the Jean Leahy Promenade downtown.
A paved public walk typically one along a waterfront at a resort.
You going to the concert tonight? Promenade. I typically don't do that kind of stuff.
Ooh, similar to promenade. Esplanade. Hold on.
Esplanade.
Hold on.
Esplanade.
Oh.
Esplanade.
There's an E in front of that.
Esplanade.
Just so you all know, that word, esplanade, there's an E.
Like
Esplanade.
Do you hear an E in there?
I don't.
No, it's just Esplanade.
I do not.
Anyways, Jean Leahy Mall.
Jean Leahy Mall. If you have never been down there, what's wrong with you? Just kidding. Like you may remember, that's the place with the long metal slides that you would, if you had
Burn yourself.
And if you had fun people in your family, they'd say, bring wax paper or cardboard and slide.
Or a potato sack.
Or what?
A potato sack?
Seriously?
Yeah. Did you ever go to Focus on the Family in Colorado Springs?
No, I did
Do you remember
not.
Focus on the Family?
I remember that being a radio segment.
So there was a place in Colorado Springs, I believe, that you could actually go to Focus on the Family. You could like actually go there.
Wow. A real place.
Yep. You could go there and they had a 3-story slide and you'd get in a potato sack to go down it.
Oh, I mean, that would work, honestly.
Yes.
I
So
might just buy a potato
why
sack
I said,
just for
or
that.
a potato sack.
Or a potato sack.
And you're like, excuse me?
Anyways, I had no idea they were completely renovating. This is how often I go downtown. Almost never. Especially now that
so much.
Especially now that the old market has way more like
Construction.
homeless people in it or construction. Also that. Have you been to the old market lately and been harassed by homeless people?
No.
No? I went down. Okay, man, so many stories. I went down. I'll come back to the Jean Leahy Mall. Well, let me finish with that. Go there because they renovated so much and it is a beautiful place and there's so much more to do. There's like a splash pad, but it's also like a...
Yep, my kids love that.
A water... How do I describe this? It's like a friendly to adults splash pad, and it's so much fun to walk around. Like you don't have water shooting everywhere where you're going to be like, I'm going to get crazy wet. Like it's like a beautiful fountain structure thingy that you and the kids can run around and play on. They have these huge like arched jungle climbing thingies that are all like ropes courses and are like big enough for fully grown adults to like get into with their kids. And
hey,
just
that's me.
around.
I'm a fully grown adult.
I know, right? It's super duper cool. There's there's hammocks there. There's more slides. It's just beautiful. Like I was like, this is amazing. I want to come back here. It's super dope. Worth going, especially if you have kids. But even if you don't, like literally, just go check it out. The old market. Last time Kylie and I went down there, we went to eat at Blue Sushi. And then we were going somewhere for a date and I had leftovers, so I put it in a box. And we were walking around and I was like, there are like a ton of homeless people right now, which is strange because I don't remember that being like normal walking around the old market. And this guy, I walked by him and this guy, while I am talking to my wife, yells at me and he says something about like, hey, you're going to give me that box? And I just ignored him because I was like, that's kind of rude. And also no, because I want to eat this. So I just kept walking and he goes, I know you effing heard me, man. And I was like, well, now I'm definitely not going to give you any food because you are very rude to me, sir. So currently my attitude towards the old market is I don't think I want to go there. It is not so friendly.
Yeah.
But go during the day, maybe. Oh, I wonder what Jean Leahy looks like at night. Oh my gosh, there's lights.
Yeah, but since it's so populated, the situation you're talking about is probably amplified
I
because
don't
they're
know.
probably hanging out around down there.
They probably hanging out. I don't have things against homeless people.
No.
I love people. I just didn't enjoy being harassed about my leftover sushi.
I was really bummed yesterday. My son and I also went to Walmart, and as we were walking in, this guy's like, hey, man, do you have any change? And I was like, no, but I'll get some inside. And I was going to go get him like a couple things. My son wanted to look at something, but then we went and got a couple things inside, and I got him water, a Prime, the hydration drink, and then some beef jerky, and then I also got him some cash. I was just going to give it to him, and then he was gone. I was like, man.
Dude, same thing happened to me.
Bummer.
I went to Crossroads one time, and this guy was like, hey, man, can you spare some money for gas? And I was like, I don't have cash on me, but I will buy you gas. Like, I have to run in here to pick up, I think it was Barnes & Noble maybe. Like, I have to pick up a book, but like, if you can just hang tight, like on my way out, I'll go with you to the gas station. I'll buy you gas. And the dude was gone. I was like, well, I guess you did not need gas. So,
yeah,
or you found it with someone else. I don't know.
There was a time in the old market that my friend Sully and I, we made the decision while we were at NCC that he wanted to go find Daft Punk's album, Random Access Memories. I think that's the name of it. He really wanted it on CD. So he wanted to go and find it. So we went to the Best Buy in Council Bluffs.
Best Buy.
I don't know why we picked one in Council Bluffs.
Good old Best Buy.
We went there and we looked and we looked and we looked and there wasn't anything there. So I was like, oh, so sorry. Then we were like, oh, let's go to Homer's. in the old market, right?
Yeah.
Record store. They'll definitely have it. We're in there. We're looking around. We're getting stuff. Then this man comes in and starts asking us for a ride, to which I immediately am like, absolutely not.
Right.
I am not letting you get in a car with me. I don't know
who
you
you
are. So then he's like, oh, give me a ride. My friend Sully will not look at his phone. I'm texting him saying, tell him we don't have a car. Tell him we don't have gas. Tell him we're from out of town. Do something to like not let him ride with us. And my friend Sully's like, yeah, man, we can do that for sure. We can do that.
Oh boy.
And I was like looking at him, and the guy in the place where we are trying to buy things won't tell this man to leave, who's clearly not going to buy anything. He's just harassing us. And I was like, dude, can you help us out here?
Yeah.
So anyways, we go outside, and I'm like, oh yeah, we actually like, I try coming up with something, but my friend is already walking him to his car. I was like, fantastic. So he gets in the car with us, tells us where he needs to go. Then he's asking us for money. He asks us, hey, can you give me like $20? And I was like, dude, I don't have any cash on me. And I didn't.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, well, can you? And my friend Sully was like, no, at first. But then he's like, yeah, I can give you $20. And he's like, okay, well, he's like, I do need this for my son's inhaler. So is there any way that you could give me maybe like $60? Like $20 would get me food, but like if I had 60, I could get him that as well. And then my friend Sully was like, oh, I don't know, man. And then he was asking me, he's like, what about you? And I was like, no, I don't have any money, dude. I'm sorry. I don't have any money. And so the guy was continuing to talk. My friend Sully goes to a gas station to get money for this man from the ATM.
Dude.
Goes into the gas station, and he's like, hey, can you guys just both go in and use the ATM and get some money for me? And I was like, dude, I don't have my card with me. I can't get you any money.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, well then how about like he just gives me the 60 and then he gets 20 out for you, so $80, and that way you guys can like double bless me. And I was like, bro. My friend Sully goes in, I kid you not, and he withdraws $80 for this man.
Sully.
And he's like, don't worry, I'll pay you back with interest. To which then this man is talking to me about how
you're not gonna pay nothing back.
Yeah, he then tells me how he brings up the thing. He's like, do you guys believe in God? And I was like, yeah, I do. And he's like, well, like, do you believe like God sends people to hell? And I don't remember how I answered, but I was like, yeah, I believe people go to hell. Yeah. And he's like, so like if you had a son and like he goes up to a stove and he burns his hand on a stove, are you gonna make him do it again to like hurt himself? And I was like, well, no. He's like, that's exactly how God is. God will never send anybody to hell. And he's like, you need to, when those people, the people who come up to your door saying they're Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, you need to listen to them because they'll tell you the truth and all this stuff. So I was like, dude, this is going off the rails. Man. Then he's telling us like, he's like playing with my friend Sully's knife in the back seat. And I was like, sick. Okay, great.
This is literally, Kylie's going to listen to this and she's going to go, this is why we don't ever let anyone in the car. We don't know.
So anyways,
he's got a knife.
He's like, hey, take me here. And he's trying to get us to take him places. We tell him we're from out of town from Kansas City. My friend Sully actually is from Kansas City. So, yeah. But he'd been living in Omaha at school now for like 2 years. So we're going, and he's like, oh, take me to this place. And Sully's like, dude, I don't know how to get you there. He's like, oh, look it up on your phone. He's like, look, man, I can't find anything. And then we randomly are at this like red light that's getting ready to turn green. And he's just like, oh, I'll just get out here. And he just gets out, doesn't say a word, just gets out on a random street. And I was like, bye. Okay, he didn't need us to go anywhere.
No.
And then I was like, Sully, why did you give this man $80?
Yeah.
So,
dude, oh, that's rough. That's so rough. I feel the tension of that all the time. What do you do with a homeless person who's like, hey, can you give me some money? And it feels like the age-old problem of like, is it actually helpful for me to give you money? And how do I've talked to people who've had some creative solutions around, they feel the problem of like, I want to be helpful and generous. And I don't want to be the kind of person that's like, you're probably homeless because you like screwed everything up and you deserve it. And yeah. Like, I think most people don't hold that opinion, and they recognize I want to be helpful and I want to help people in need. And especially if you're a Christian, and especially if you're a pastor, you're like, I want to help. And yet, everyone I've ever talked to who like work in nonprofits, like Open Door Mission and stuff, they'll say, don't give cash to people who are asking for cash. Yeah. Instead, give them something else. I talked to someone one time who said they drive around with like prepared kits in their car that are like, they've got things that are helpful, like socks and like gift cards to food places and things. And I was like, that's smart. I think Open Door Mission has some like available resources that are like meal things or whatever that you could like buy in advance, or I can't remember now, but you should go to Open Door Mission if this is something that also bothers you. The other thing is times have changed so much. Almost nobody has cash anymore.
Very true.
So to ask for cash, I like basically never, like when I pull up to a stop sign and someone's on the corner of the road and they've got a sign and they're like asking for money, I'm like, even if I was like, I feel like I should give you money, I don't have cash. Like I cannot give, I have nothing to give. But then there's also times where I think it's appropriate to say, like, I'm imagining being in your scenario, or I was in Chicago one time and this guy asked me, hey man, you got some cash? And my default right away answer was like, no, I don't have cash, which was a lie. I had $2. And he called me out on it. He's like, I know you've got some cash. And I thought, like afterwards, and I gave him $1. And after that, I thought, why wouldn't I just say, like, why would I lie instead of saying what I really, really think and feel? And what I really, really think and feel in that moment is I don't want to give money to a stranger.
Yeah.
And I don't think I need to give you money just because you asked me for money. But I feel that tension of like, I don't want to be rude. And as a Christian, I like, there's such an imperative to help take care of the needy or the less fortunate or whatever. But matters are always more complex than that too. So I think it is in the moment as I'm thinking about it, and like maybe it is okay as a person to literally bluntly say, I just don't give money to strangers. Yeah. And I am a huge fan of opportunity-wise, if you have the opportunity to offer something else. Like, yeah, dude, I'll buy you gas. Yeah, dude, I can buy you some food right over here. Like, I am not afraid to give you my time and give you some resources that aren't just, here's cash. But who knows? I know there's a lot of different opinions about this too. So
yeah,
this isn't me giving really advice on what a person should do, but
yeah, I agree.
Interesting dynamic. I was in Mexico one time, and I remember we were in a car. I was a high schooler. We were in a car. I literally was thinking about this the other day. Driving somewhere, and we hit a stoplight, and all of a sudden this stranger, this guy on the side of the road, runs up to the front of the car with a cloth and like a squirt bottle, and he starts
cleaning the car.
Cleaning the car, yeah. And the pastor's wife was driving the car, and she starts freaking out, and she's like, no. She's like waving at him, and I'm like, what is going on? Who's this weirdo who just jumped in front of our car? Why is he?
Because he's like, if I do work, you have to pay me.
Exactly. That was it. And I don't remember if she like actually gave him money after that. I think she might have, or maybe she just drove away. I don't know. But the translator had to explain, like, yeah, people will do. It's basically like people asking for money in America, except they'll just jump right in, start cleaning your car, and then be like, well, now you owe me money, or you should give me money.
Because I did this.
I did a service for you. Yeah. And I was like, that is not okay. That makes me very uncomfortable.
Dude, when we were in Puerto Rico, we were heading to a beach on like the first day we were there, and there were these dudes walking around in intersections, like tapping on windows for people to give them money.
Oh, dude!
Like rather than just waiting on the side, they like come up to your car and they're like tapping on your window. Also, Puerto Rico, went to the worst Walmart I've ever been to in Puerto Rico. It's also really weird. It was a Walmart connected to like a strip mall.
We're back.
You know how like businesses, like smaller stores are like connected to other stores? Yes. This Walmart was connected to a strip mall. Not like separated. Whoa. It was like all connected. It was weird.
And it wasn't like a Walmart inside of a
thing. No.
Like a Starbucks.
It's also a really weird layout of places. It was like random clothing stores, Walmart, random food places, and then a Champs and a Journeys. I was like, this is so strange.
That is weird.
And there's a Toys R Us still in Puerto Rico.
There is?
Uh-huh.
I thought like as a company it closed.
No. They're still active in like... where's it at? I think Singapore has one.
Really?
I think Puerto Rico has Puerto Rico had one. It's like if it was closer to me, I would have gone. So it was like 2.5 hours away.
Instead of Toys R Us, it's like Toys R I, singular, the one and only.
And, no, then they have them in Canada too.
Oh, do they really?
Mm-hmm.
Good for Canada.
Yeah, they don't have Target. Canada does not have Target.
I remember I was watching a CrossFit thing. Yep. Shout out to Team Richie. Yeah, none of you know who that is. That's fine. And they came to the United States for some CrossFit stuff, and then the last bit of their gag video was the husband. It's a like a guy-girl duo. The guy was like, "Yeah, we always have to stop here because we don't have any of these back home." And then it pans to her like running into a Target, and I was like, "That is hilarious!" Like, one, that's my wife; she's that way. Target, I love it. Two, it is an international like love. Women love Target.
Not in Canada, though. I guess Canada they opened for like a couple years and then closed.
Really?
Yeah. Every Target in Canada closed.
What? I need to know more.
I guess I'll send you a video.
Why?
There's a guy who does a whole video about it.
Why was Canada not fertile ground for Targets?
Why is everywhere is. Also, I found out from Lily Martin and TJ Bliss.
Yep.
They said in Australia, Kmart's are their Targets.
No way.
They said Kmart's are their Targets. So that's like the pinnacle of stores. And Targets over there are like our Kmart's.
Wow.
So like, you know how Kmart's were always, they just looked sad?
They looked sad and they felt sad inside.
That's how Targets feel in Australia. Whereas in Australia, Kmart's feel like Targets here.
What is the deal? That's crazy.
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
That is really wild.
That's why I want to go. Also, do you know for a while there's things called Super Kmart's?
No.
Yeah?
I'm having a hard time imagining that.
Yeah, it's called the Super Kmart.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So anyways.
In my mind, that's like the difference between depression and severe depression. Kmart and Super Kmart.
Super Kmart.
It's like super empty.
Archives Canada Target from the... Yeah, I'll send you this video because there's this channel I watch called Bright Sun Films, and he just does research into a bunch of abandoned or bankrupt or things like that. And so,
oh, dude, yes. Thank you for sending that to me because I will totally watch that.
It's fascinating. And then he actually, in that video, talks to a guy who helped open like Target Canadas and like why they went under and stuff like that. He talks about a bunch of different places, honestly. There's one that he does about Blockbuster. He does one about Toys R Us. I've got to show you. I found the pictures of Westroads from like the 70s or 80s.
Yeah.
And in one of them, I saw KB Toys, and I was like, oh, KB Toys. Also, KB side note,
Toys.
back to just podcast stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of people really enjoyed our sports cast.
Oh, yeah. I forgot we did
that. So I think we got to pick who's also going to win the NBA Finals.
All right, yeah.
A lot of people were also very disappointed in us not knowing how the draft
There's only 7 rounds to the NFL draft.
There's 7 rounds, 32 picks each round,
which makes sense because every team gets a pick each round, but you don't do 32 rounds.
Yep.
Yeah, that was dumb of me.
So how much is that? 7 times 32? 224 picks.
224.
So
that's
next year we'll be able to look at everybody. Apparently, my friend Lucas also told me that I didn't know this, but I guess that the person who gets picked last...
It has a nickname.
Yeah, he's called Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant.
And that actually gets put on his jersey.
No way.
Yeah. And I was like, dude, that's sad.
That's terrible.
That's so sad.
Were you at NCC during the chapel when Ty Schenzel came and spoke?
Yes.
Do you remember him referencing Mr. Irrelevant?
No.
Oh, dude, it's a huge part of his... If any of you get the chance, you need to go listen to this. If Taylor actually ever catches up on our podcast episodes, he'll hear this and he'll be I love that
it's
message
also
so much.
It's also so sad about that message because, like, the full thing wasn't on there. It cuts off.
Really?
Yeah, because they cut off at the usual hour mark. And I remember everybody was 45 minutes late to lunch and missed lunch because of that chapel.
Yep.
And they cut it off at, like, the hour 10 mark.
Oh.
So the whole thing isn't even there. So some people who got like words from Ty
like aren't recorded on
there.
Oh,
dude, like because so I got a word from him and I was like, yeah, I want to hear my word. Yeah, it wasn't in there.
No, for real.
And I wanted to go back and listen to it because like at that time I was not okay with like words like that, but I wanted one. Yep. And so I was just like, dude, I remember everyone in that chapel was weeping.
Oh yeah,
like
dude.
And yeah, so I wanted to go back and listen to it. It's not there. So I'm sure somewhere in the collection of something or other at NCC. Yeah, probably not, but. Yeah, I would hope that's out there somewhere.
Ty Schenzel's Chapel at Nebraska Christian College, 2014. Legendary.
Yeah, one of the most memorable chapels I've ever experienced.
Oh, yeah, memorable moment. It was great. And he talks about Mr. Irrelevant. He says, I think he says, you know what the first guy in the NFL, first pick is called? And he has a nickname too, but I can't remember what it is. And then the last one, he's like, who is it? And someone shouts out, Mr. Irrelevant. And he's like, yeah, why? Because nobody cares. Who was it? Doesn't matter. We don't know. He's irrelevant, right? And some of us as Christians, often we feel that way. We feel like we're Mr. Irrelevant. But that's not true. his whole message is super great.
Yeah,
he
so
also is basically a stand-up comedian for the majority of it.
Yeah.
He's hilarious. Hilarious.
That's how I feel about Sean Keith. Anytime Sean Keith gets up to present something to us as a staff, I'm like, Sean's stand-up routine. Here we go.
We should have Sean Keith on the podcast.
Oh my god, I'd be
terrified. Actually,
Sean has quite a collection of basketball cards.
Does he really?
That he can make a decent amount off of.
No way.
Yes. He has Kobe Bryant's rookie card.
No, he does not.
He's going to send it off to get graded.
What?
Yeah. Because he has his rookie card.
Are you kidding? That's insane.
He took it out of the package straight into glass. So it's probably a PSA 10.
Holy cow. That's got to be...
It's worth a lot.
Dude, how much does something like that go for? I have no idea what cards sell for. But like, I would want to say thousands.
Probably more, honestly, because he's dead now.
That's insane.
PSA 10. Kobe Bryant rookie card, PSA 10.
Hang on. I want to...
If Sean has this one, specifically this one that I'm looking at, just take a guess. Number.
I guess now. Okay, Kobe Bryant. Jeez.
Because it depends on the card.
Okay.
But if this one that I'm looking at right here, if Sean has this, Sean Keith, you need to get this graded right now.
Right now. I'm going to shout out, give me $23,000, Bob.
Let me just do some math real quick.
You have to do math? Why do you have to do math?
Just hold on.
Why isn't it just on there?
You are, I don't know how to do this math. Oh, wait, yes, I do. Yes, I do.
You haven't solved for X.
You said 21,000?
23,000. But if it makes the math easier, then...
So you're about 21 times off.
No!
$500,000.
No!
If Sean has this one...
Are you serious?
$500K.
Sean, sell the car. Sean.
Now here's the deal. If there's some other ones on here that if Sean has like this one, that's $1,000, still $1,000. This one, if he has this one, $3,500.
Oh my
$1,500.
gosh.
This one's only worth $380, which is a little confusing to me. So I guess it just depends, but
Sure.
yeah, that one $500,000. I mean, my dad has some Jordan cards that if he sends them in, they're probably worth. My dad had one that we looked up that if he gets it graded, it's worth $1,700.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't collect nothing.
Yeah, because my grandma, what she used to do for my dad is she'd buy tons of baseball cards, open the pack, no matter what the card was, put it in a sleeve right away, like a glass case right away.
Wow.
Yeah, she just had foresight like that to do that. So
these will be valuable one day, but I'm gonna sell these Hot Wheels.
Oh, also, if anybody listening to this podcast, this is really random. If anybody listening to this has any idea how to start a T-shirt and or clothing company, in some way, let me know. Because Sierra Fortune and I have some ideas.
Oh, hey.
So
that's pretty big.
Yeah.
So we need to in episodes future we need to talk about more sports things. I guess
NBA Finals.
NBA Finals. That's what we'll do. We'll pick. What do you even pick in NBA Finals?
You just pick who's going to be in the finals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's basically that's March Madness bracket stuff, right? Or is
no,
that
that's NCAA.
Oh yeah, that's college basketball.
Uh-huh.
I don't know things. I also had some people come up to me and say, "Hey, I'd actually love to hear more about your thoughts on like things you weren't allowed to do and watch as a kid, as a Christian, and your opinions on those now." And
number 4 will shock you.
Dungeons and Dragons. Number 4 will shock you.
Burger King foot lettuce.
Yeah. Burger King.
Guys, if you want to hear Sean Keith on this podcast, let us know because I just want Sean Keith on this podcast now.
Let us know.
The tricky part is going to be getting Sean Keith on this podcast.
That really will be it.
He's a busy man.
We're just going to ambush him in his office one day. We'll be like,
Sean, surprise interview. Sell us your Kobe Bryant card right now.
Have you graded your card? Have you? We'll do. I saw a YouTube short on like how to get something valuable out of a pawn shop where you don't the thing that you want, you don't actually haggle for it. You haggle for something that is similar to it. And so like say the thing you want is $100 is worth $100, right? And the thing you don't actually want is worth like $10. And you take the thing you don't want and you're like, hey, what's the best you can do on this, right? And the guy's like, it's 10. I can give you like 8. It's like, okay, well maybe can you do 5? And the guy will go, okay, fine. Like how about 7? He says, okay, 7 for that. And how much for this thing? And this thing is the thing you actually want. And he says, I'll throw it in for another like $10. And he's like, okay, 17 for the whole thing. How about, can I just take that for 10 then?
Yeah.
And then boom.
Funny story tying it back to Sean Keith. He and his wife found these chairs for their like house in like a corner of their house that they wanted to get.
Yeah.
Found them at a garage sale. And Sean was asking about a price, and I can't remember what they were, but they looked really nice, really expensive. And Sean and Lisa asked like, hey, can you do like 40 or something like that?
Yeah.
Or some price basically. And the guy was like, yeah, I'll tell you what, we'll do 50 for both chairs. Like not 50 each,
Sure.
but 50 total or something.
Sure.
It was astronomical. Sean looked them up, and these chairs were worth like $300 a piece.
Yo, let's go.
And he looked it up. So Sean is also very good at that. So he'd be
Good
just,
for him.
You know, we should just do a mobile podcast where we walk around with our phones and just
We should.
any executive pastor we can find, we stop them and make it seem like we have something really funny or like important to talk about, and then just interview them on the spot.
Hey, Mike, I have a question for you real quick. What is the worst target in all of Omaha?
Mike Ballard. The funny thing about Mike Ballard is he's really good with just rolling with the punches. So he wouldn't be like, what is this about? He would just give us an answer, and it would sound like he's well studied on it as well.
He would.
So
he would. He's that kind of guy. Well, let us know more what you want to hear about. We've got things we want to talk about, but also what you want to talk about matters. Yeah. Don't forget, you can pay for retroactive bleeps
on Stephen Voss.
That's right. And
that Stephen will be mentioned because there's already 3 bleeps.
Yeah, there's already 3 bleeps.
So
3 burps.
But if somebody wants to cover all the Stevens we've said in this episode,
yeah, man, it's $1 a bleep. It's 2 for retroactive ones, and I think at this point we might actually have to set up a Patreon so people can do that.
Ooh, we'll get some merch.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Now, Cole, the most important question of the week.
Yes,
and who knows if it'll be answered? Maybe this is the cliffhanger episode because episode 9. That's the end of the Skywalker saga for us.
That's true. That's true.
So, Cole, would you say, are we still friends?
Here, let me shake my...
Just kidding. Find out next time on episode 9 of Dragon Ball Z.